In Georgia, the judge issuing a new order today. This is another procedural win for the DA, and it responds to the leak that started the week with that look inside secret RICO confession sessions. It's a rare look at criminal trial evidence. As I've told you, we don't usually get this kind of stuff at this point. It's upended the case, it's upended the week, and we have put together a new video crash course of what's been going down and why it matters. Take a look.
Video recorded statements to prosecutors have leaked.
This sort of evidence is basically how prosecutors are going to tear down Trump's defense piece by piece.
That is a devastating blow for the former president.
Sharply incriminating information.
He said the boss is not going to leave under any circumstances.
The only time you want to hear someone say the boss is not going to leave is after the third encore of a Springsteen concert, right before the opening notes of Thunder Road.
Surprising, no. Disappointing, yes. I'm not happy that it was released and that you and your colleague got to do your story. But
all his instincts told him he had been defrauded, that the election was a big fraud.
Golden evidence for prosecutors both in Georgia and in D.C.
Making sure that everyone that is involved in the criminal enterprise is held responsible.
There was a big shouting match in which Rudy called me every name in the book.
Wow, this is what it's going to look like when his former allies turn against him in a Fulton County court of law.
It really should influence how we think about the election of 24.
They said, for $10,000, we will fly you down.
They were trying to figure out this week who leaked those videos.
There's absolutely no reason for Fani Willis to have leaked this.
Who's leaking the videos? I think somebody in the defense camp to whom these have been released as part of the discovery obligations of the Georgia prosecutors.
Judge, I did release those videos to one outlet.
There was no protective order in place that would prevent any defendant here from sharing any of the discovery.
I was with my team making sure that an emergency motion got filed.
Judge Scott McAfee this morning gave the DA what she asked for, issuing a protective order barring the release of some discovery material.
We've already seen what may happen if a protective order isn't put in place.
You don't want evidence out in the ether that may or may not actually be put before a jury.
He made the point very firmly that cases are meant to be tried in courtrooms, not in the public.
It's a lot that's been going down, and judges do want cases tried in court, not in public. And the witnesses in those RICO sessions did think their testimony was going to stay secret probably until trial. Now they are learning they can't trust their former colleagues and co-defendants and those MAGA lawyers. It's a point Taylor Swift explained in the song The Lucky One. Your secrets end up splashed on the news front page. They tell you that you're lucky, but you're so confused because you don't feel lucky. You just feel used. Well, convicted Trump aide Jenna Ellis has made it clear she feels used, publicly blaming those more experienced MAGA lawyers, complaining Donald Trump would not pay the legal costs that she accrued working for him and learning she was not lucky after all in getting this job and getting so politically famous, making this case for Trump. Sometimes when they say you're lucky, that's when you actually have to be the most concerned. Taylor knows. Now, will there be more leaks? Well, today, as you saw a little bit there, the judge responding with the formal order to combat any leaking of more evidence. It's a response to what we showed you, where basically that MAGA lawyer already confessed to being the leaker, which kind of resolves the mystery and lets the judge then figure out how to prevent this. Now, the assertions in those RICO tapes are still roiling this case, including new accounts of how another convicted Trump lawyer briefed then outgoing President Trump on plans involving elector fraud that were designed to overthrow the election he had already legally lost. Now, the lawyer for that lawyer, I know it's a lot to track when so many of Trump's lawyers become convicts and need their own lawyers, but the lawyer for that lawyer made some news by arguing that his client, convicted Trump lawyer Kenneth Chesebro, and other convicted aides may not, he argues, be super helpful to the actual criminal RICO case against Donald Trump. So that's interesting, whether you agree or disagree, and everyone obviously close to the case has different angles. We know that. He's a defense lawyer. But it was newsworthy. In fact, I want to show you a little bit more of what he told us right here last night.
There was a single meeting with Donald Trump, and it was just a photo op as far as that goes.
According to the Washington Post account, he says, your client says he briefed Trump.
I don't know who it is that's telling the Post these issues.
The source for that is the proffer session where he spoke and you attended. Does it meet your recollection of that or not?
Absolutely not.
You know Donald Trump lost the election, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know that there's
I'm
a
not
process.
a Republican lawyer, Democratic lawyer.
Right, no, I understand.
I'm just
Legally,
a regular guy.
We have your client's memos. You're saying people say, oh, all these guys are cooperating. You're saying that's a misread?
It's a misread.
There's no case law on that because it's so bananas, bonkers, and out of the realm of democracy that they never had to have it litigated.
A lot of the nuances are very boring and constitutionally rigid. It's like taking a class.
I can't speak for anyone else. I don't feel bored.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm not talking to my wife or my family about it because they get really bored.
First, your thought, big picture, on what those proffer sessions, which are the meat of all this, suggest about the strength of the remaining RICO case.
Well, it's interesting. So you've got Jenna Ellis, who has that bombshell of Donald Trump not being able to leave office. But really, I think her value is being able to point the prosecutors to Dan Scavino, because Dan Scavino is the one who had that conversation with Trump. And he's the one, if he were to testify, who could get that into evidence. That proffer video would not come in. It's an out-of-court statement. It's hearsay. But she points the prosecutor in the right direction, and she's agreed as part of her plea to continue talking to prosecutors.
You mean the as far as the court is concerned, the truth of what then White House aide Scavino said?
Correct. It would be, you can't bring it in for the truth of the matter because it's an out-of-court statement.
Mm-hmm.
But again, she's cooperating, she's providing information, that's all good. As to Sidney Powell, I mean, she apparently in one of her videos said she still thinks Donald Trump won the election. And so that's Donald Trump's defense. That's not necessarily helping advance the prosecutor's case at all. So I'm still not quite sure exactly how she's going to be all that helpful. She says that she was in the room when others told Donald Trump that he lost. But then she's also saying, hey, I'm a former prosecutor and I know fraud when I see it, and I'm still looking and I'm still digging. That's not necessarily helpful for the prosecutor's case. But I mean, the bigger problem is, as a witness, you have to credit what your witness is telling you. And if she's still saying he won the election, it seems pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and we've touched on that she is a mixed bag at best. When you look at this wild week as someone who has this experience, who's tried cases, how unusual is it to have this kind of leak and then have the lawyer come into court and admit it?
Well, I mean, Prosecutor 101 is you have a protective order. In a run-of-the-mill criminal case, you have a protective order in place, and you do that to protect witnesses. You don't want things like their home addresses.
So how unusual, though, just at that high level?
Very, very unusual.
Yeah.
I mean, I never turned over discovery unless there was really no discovery to be had. Never turned over discovery unless I had the protective order in place first.
And I got to ask you, because again, you might respect the defense bar, but you clash with them. What did you think of this lawyer leaking this to the point that it came out Monday and then Wednesday saying, I need to sleep better, I did it?
Yeah, it's not, because there was no order saying he couldn't, it's not clear he actually did anything wrong, though it seems unethical. But certainly it's the kind of thing where I'm not sure what it really gained for his client other than to cause chaos and create more press attention around it. It's a bizarre move at best.
Now turning to another lawyer, the one we just played before I welcomed you onto the program, we gave him time. He's Chesebro's lawyer. He's close to it. He is saying, on behalf of Chesebro and his view of the case, that some of these so-called cooperating witnesses won't be that helpful in a case against defendant Trump. What did you think of that?
I think he may be right. Chesebro and Powell, their plea agreements are different than Jenna Ellis's.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna Ellis's says full cooperation. I will continue to come in and talk to the prosecutors. It seems like she's really on Team USA, whereas the others doesn't say anything like that. It just says that they will testify truthfully. What that means in their minds may be very different than what it means to Fani Willis.
I want to turn to something else that is, on the one hand, not as big news and important, but on the other was revealed this week. The new tapes and the reporting lead us to basically the elephant, or I guess the alligator in the room, because two of these convicted Trump allies in this very case, we learned, met on an alligator hunt. The Washington Post just reported this amidst all the new proffer information that Sidney Powell, who we just discussed, and bail bondsman Scott Hall, now both convicts, were hunting for alligators together I want to be clear. These images are of an unrelated alligator hunt. But this hunt went down before the two of them had any idea they would soon become the legally hunted. And we know they didn't get away during the hectic period when Powell was first indicted and getting ready for her booking and her mugshot. She thought back to her alligator hunting partner, remembering that he was a bail bondsman in Georgia where she was indicted. So the new tapes actually feature Powell saying she thought to ask her old hunting partner to help with her bond because she remembered she hunted alligators with a bail bondsman, you know, as one does. She told prosecutors, quote, I was going to ask him about a bond, but then, of course, she learned he was indicted like her, so he's pretty busy, and she would be legally barred from talking to him as a fellow RICO co-defendant. Now, I will say these legally hunted individuals have been given more grace and sympathy than the alligators they once hunted, both pleading guilty early, getting deals to avoid jail. Christy, this is obviously a Georgia-style coincidence. What did you think when you first heard about this alligator connection, bringing together two Georgia co-defendants?
Yeah, maybe this is what Republicans mean by draining the swamp. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they found the Kraken somewhere along the hunt. It's interesting. I didn't know alligator hunts were a thing, but you learn something new every day.
Have you? And this you don't have to answer, but you are on live TV. Here's two legally involved people who were into alligator hunting. Have you ever alligator hunted?
I didn't even know you could alligator hunt, so no, I didn't. But actually, in Scott Hall's video, his was the funniest proper video. I think he talked about political tourism, and I don't know, maybe this should be on the Republican docket for political tourism going forward. Yeah.